This is the first video presentation for the CASE Food Science and Safety course. Throughout this course, presentations are used to introduce information, terminology, and/or skills required for subsequent activities. For example, this video will provide information you will use in order to complete Activity 1.1.1, Food and Your Senses. As you view this and each future video, be sure to make notes of important information. Feel free to pause, repeat, and resume the video whenever necessary. Eating with All the Senses, Lesson 1.1, Exploring Food Science. This presentation provides information about sensory properties of food. Although the 5 main senses are elementary, how they are used in food science is not. There are several facets to each of the senses when conducting sensory analysis and developing food products. If a food does not look good, it will be difficult for a person to put it into their mouth. Look at the 2 plates of waffles. Which would you prefer to eat and why? Food scientists have also proven that color has an effect on how a person perceives food. Foods of an unusual color or that are uncolored may deceive a person's sense of flavor. Mouthfeel is the interaction of food and/or drink in a person's mouth. Mouthfeel is an important consideration in food science because it is taste, texture, feel of food when swallowed, how it mixes with other foods, and several other factors that help determine if a person will prefer a food. You have most likely tasted pretzels and cotton candy. In your presentation notes, compare and contrast your memories of the mouthfeel of pretzels and cotton candy. Sounds influence a person's preference of food, including the sound outside of the mouth as well as sounds inside the mouth. The crunch of a carrot and the sizzle of a burger can affect a person's desire to eat that food. If you could only use 2 senses when you eat, taste and smell would be the 2 to use. All the senses are important and work with each other for the sensory experience. But taste and smell are definitely the stars of the experience. There are only 5 tastes. Sweet is associated with sugar and sweeteners. Bitterness can be found in coffee, hops found in beer, and unsweetened cocoa. People often don't eat bitter foods. The bitter taste is usually associated with something that is hazardous to us, such as poisonous plants. Sourness is caused by acidity and is common in citrus fruits such as lemon, lime, and grapefruit. Saltiness is the concentration of sodium. Salt can help mask bitter flavors and help release pleasant aromas from food. Umami is the most recently discovered taste. It is a Japanese word meaning pleasant, savory taste. It is a taste that is found in certain amino acid and is compared to a meaty or brothy taste. Soy products, tomatoes, meat, and potatoes all have high levels of glutamate, which is a factor of the umami taste. Scientists used to believe people tasted in specific regions of the tongue. Recent research shows that this simply is not the case. Draw the tongue in your presentation notes. Label the papilla and the path of the taste through the nerves during the next few minutes. The taste pore is in contact with the fluid portion of the food while the food is in the mouth. The exact method of sending signals is different for each taste depending on the ions involved. Salty and sour tastes send directly through ion channels. The other tastes bind to receptors causing triggers that will open and close ion channels. The ion channels polarize the taste, causing them to release chemicals that send signals through the neurons connected to the TRC to the brain. Volatile substances contain particles that evaporate or become gaseous quickly. The olfactory bulb is located at the base of the brain behind the nose. It is a bundle of nerve fibers. Nasal and oral cavities are connected so odors make their way up to the olfactory bulb as you chew food. There are hundreds of olfactory receptor types, and people express different OR types. The process of binding to ORs activates specific proteins which open cation channels, depolarizing the olfactory receptors and stimulating nerve impulses to the olfactory bulb, which distributes the signals throughout the brain. Food scientists need to be able to describe what they are sensing. Sensory evaluations are conducted throughout this course. Sensory evaluation is to consider the flavor, aroma, texture or mouthfeel, appearance, and noise of the food. A list of adjectives describing food observations will be useful. Brainstorm a list of adjectives to describe each part of the sensory analysis. It may be helpful to dedicate an easily accessible page in your laboratory notebook to these observation ideas. As a review, mark or highlight 3 key points in your notes that are important to remember from this presentation. List 2 ideas or concepts that relate to previous knowledge. And list any questions you may have about this topic. Discuss these questions with your instructor. Keep any notes you have from the presentation organized and available for use throughout the course. Through Activity 1.1.1, Food in Your Senses, you'll observe and identify 3 common foods using the 5 senses in order to understand that sensory properties of food influence consumer preference and acceptance. Your teacher will provide more instruction for the activity.